Okay, Supreme Court hearing arguments today over President Trump's attempt to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook. Lydia Hu is outside the Supreme Court with the very latest. Hey, Lydia.
Hey there, Brian. Arguments this morning wrapped up about just after 2 hours, a very active bench with intense questioning of both sides. And the justices really focused on what I think are two main issues. What qualifies as cause that's adequate to fire a Fed governor? And then secondly, who gets to determine when cause is established? The Federal Reserve Act, as you know, includes that requirement that only the president may fire a Federal Reserve governor and only for cause. So this is the first time in history that the courts are really being pushed to define what that means. President Trump is arguing that there is cause here in this case because Lisa Cook stands accused by the Fed housing director of mortgage fraud. Solicitor General John Sauer summed up why that is adequate in this case for her immediate removal. Listen to him here.
The American people should not have their interest rates determined by someone who was, at best, grossly negligent in obtaining favorable interest rates for herself.
But on the other side, Lisa Cook is represented by former Solicitor General Paul Clement, and Clement is seizing on the process. How does one determine exactly whether cause is present? Clement argues it cannot be just the president. He says we need a court and judicial review. Listen to him.
I do think on the substantive question of what's for cause, there needs to be judicial review. And I think there needs to be judicial review of that question for all the reasons that were alluded to in the various colloquies. Because if there's no judicial review, then this is all kind of a joke.
And among the spectators watching the oral arguments today, Brian, there was Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Our own Shannon Bream confirmed his attendance for me. Of course, Powell may be attending because he has his own separate questions about how this case could potentially impact his own future at the Federal Reserve. And then finally, I want to quickly add, we do have a statement here from Lisa Cook that's crossing in just about the past 20 minutes. She adds this, quote, "For as long as I serve at the Federal Reserve, I will uphold the principle of political independence and service to the American people." Brian, back to you.
I'm very
it
sure
has nothing to do with that. You know, they deserve to lose this case.
Lydia, we have lots of people who want to speak.
Sorry,
Thank you, Lydia.
Lydia, I love you.
The best.
I was not exclaiming you.
Now, I'm wondering, Jackie, I'm going to go to Larry, obviously, on this. I'm wondering if you just have a legal setup at all for any of this, given your vast legal background.
I'm gonna punt to
Okay,
Larry.
so Larry, fine. That we wanted to do that, Larry.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm not her fan, okay, so that's obvious. But here, can I just ask a question? Either she broke the law or not.
Okay.
Okay? This should have nothing to do with interest rates. Either she broke the law with respect to declaring multiple primary residences, which has to do with wire fraud and bank fraud and mortgage fraud and lots of fraud.
She hasn't been convicted of that.
I understand. These are the allegations.
Those are the allegations.
I'm saying either she broke those laws or not.
Right.
It has nothing to do with interest rates. This is a flaw in what the Solicitor General, I don't know the man, but from what I just gathered, no wonder Kavanaugh is jumping down the throat. That is not the issue. The issue is, did you break the law? So ordinary citizens, right, have to declare. There are tax considerations and there are mortgage interest rate considerations with respect to these applications, right, Laura? Okay, has nothing to do with the Fed funds rate. That's really important here. Let's get this down right. That's point number one.
All right. Do you have a point number two or just a point number one?
Yeah, no, point.
Because I got a question for Taylor. I think that's a great point, that cause would be breaking the law,
Thank you.
Okay, now I think
if you break the law, you don't deserve to have high federal office, among other things.
Okay, now I think what Lisa Cook's lawyer is arguing, it's one, cause, but two, then when have you established cause, right? And he's saying I think they're saying you would establish cause through a conviction.
After.
Right.
Exactly.
And they're saying that because that hasn't happened, the president can't
He jumped the gun.
Okay, so
Cart and horse.
So what do you lawyerly people think about that approach?
Everybody lawyer up.
By Lisa Cook's attorney here.
I think that's a solid defense in this particular situation. What else can you really argue for her? And I have to be honest, I guess why I didn't, I punted to Larry was because I kind of buy that.
Okay.
I do buy that. And when it comes to the Supreme Court, these are very controversial cases. That's why they get all the way up there, and they're fascinating to hear arguments on both sides. I think that you need that conviction to be able to legally move forward.
If you shoot somebody and then you're appointed to the Federal Reserve Board later, you can't take office at the Federal Reserve Board. I don't care. If there hasn't been established...
You mean if there's a trial, but you did shoot the person?
Right.
The trial is pending?
And I don't think the timing is very important. And I think, by the way, the executive, a.k.a. the president, is the guy to determine cause on questions like that. I think he has that right. But mostly, I want to come back to their, did she or did she not? The other thing I want to say is, take the subpoena back. The Jay Powell subpoena was not a good idea, okay? Not a good idea. Have a meeting between the Justice Department and the Federal Reserve Board. Do not let this guy martyr himself. Take it all away. They shouldn't have done it in the first place. Let the papers exchange. People want to see what the documents were. Now, look, if you can prove he lied in the hearing, I don't believe that. Okay? I will stand corrected. That's a different matter. But just because, I mean, he's inept, he's incompetent, he's undermined the independence of the Federal Reserve.
To prove he lied, you'd have to prove his intent. Proving intent is in his head. It's almost impossible.
Impossible. And that's why exchange the papers. You can go, look, the Congress should have a say in these cost overruns, so let them have some oversight and have a meeting, but get rid of the subpoena. They're not impaneling a grand jury. They're not charging him. It does smack of a certain political thing, but I don't want to, look, Henry II said, get rid of the meddlesome priest. And then they went out and killed Thomas Becket. That was a mistake. He didn't really mean it. And I think the same thing is true with the president. The president himself said, I didn't mean it. I didn't want to do this.
Okay. Well, we will follow both of them.
What can I just...
I don't want to martyr. And it's important. Look, today's speech. I want to come back to this. What did Trump say? What did Trump say? Growth doesn't mean inflation.
Yep.
He wants to appoint his own chair and others who will once and for all send the Phillips curve, which says growth does cause inflation, to the dust heap of history.
Well, go to that heap real quick.
And put a spike in it. Let him.
What did Lydia say? Jay Powell is at this Supreme Court hearing out of concern for his own future. He has no future. He's gone from the Federal Reserve. His term is up as the chair in May. His term as a governor is up in 2 years, but he should get gone if he has any self-regard, because he's an embarrassment. He is a political hack. We knew it last year, or in 2024, and we surely know it now that he's sitting there acting as if he believes in any kind of Fed independence. He's standing alongside someone who's been accused of mortgage fraud and stealing from the American taxpayer.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you can prove that.
Have you no shame?
If you can prove that, that's...
He has no future. We do. More big money after this.
5%.